Just tell me when you're ready.
We're rolling.
All right. So now that we've got our machine set up, I'm gonna grab a piece of scrap material off the pile, something somebody already welded on and then didn't want, so we've chopped it up to make just some practice pieces. Just to lay a couple of beads, get the hang of it, and then I'll show you a couple different styles. Another tool you're gonna need is just a set of welding pliers. Main thing you'll want is the end down here where you can snip the end of your welding wire, and you want to snip it to where there's just about a 1/4 inch hanging out. What I always do is I put the blade on the far side and then butt the nozzle of the welder right up to it. Oh. It's hard to work in gloves. Just be patient. You'll get used to it. Snip our wire. Make it straight first. And then I've just got a little bit of stick out there. If you start with a really long stick out, you're not going to get the shielding gas coming through. That shielding gas just provides a controlled environment around the weld, just to keep impurities out. Keep moisture out, things like that, and make a uniform weld all the way across. So can't really show you with the camera, but what you'll do when you come into class, we're gonna go over most of this again, but we're also gonna have you practice before you start making your actual project, just to get you to a level that your project's gonna stick together. You might not be perfect, it might not be the prettiest weld you ever made, but we want to make sure you're penetrating into the metal and getting at least a usable weld. Couple of different methods, different lingo. You can watch YouTube for hours and different theories, different people that do it different ways. What we want to do is just something that you're comfortable with. So try a few of these while you practice. Once you find one you're comfortable with, practice with that. And then we'll look at your welds. If everything looks good, we'll let you move on to your project. Some of those different methods, there's pushing the weld, where you start the weld and you push away from yourself, kind of from right to left. If you're left-handed, it would be from left to right, but it's still pushing the weld pull. So that's push. And then there's pull, which is you're starting away from you and you're dragging the weld across as you go. So if you hear push or pull, that's just what that means. It's how you're manipulating that puddle, whether you're pushing it or pulling it along. Welding flat on the table with a MIG, you can do either of them. It's just whatever's the most comfortable. Then there's different little techniques for how you move your gun while you're going. One is little circles, and as you're going through and you'll see that puddle form, it'll be red hot at a certain point. You'll know that's the hottest point. And as you go with those circles, you just dip back into it. All these little movements are within about a 1/4 inch. So if you think of a little 1/4 inch bolt head, it's a very small, fine movement. So don't think it's big circles. It's super tiny. The other one, this is how I weld and I prefer, is just a simple back and forth, where you're just moving back into your puddle and pulling it out back and forth as you go. And then obviously you'll be welding when you do it, and this will be feeding material in there, and you just weld across your plate just with little strokes back and forth. The other one for using for a fillet weld, you hear it called C's, J's, all sorts of things. I'll show you here on the table. So what you do is you start your weld, and then you're actually moving up in kind of a J motion to get some heat penetrating into this piece up here. And then you'll move back down into your puddle and drag your puddle up into this. So you're just moving your puddle from the bottom plate up into the top and filling material as you go to get enough penetration into both pieces of metal to where they join. You can still practice C's and J's on plate too. Some people prefer that. Instead of doing a full circle, they'll just come back, grab the edge of the puddle, bring it back in, go grab the other edge, and they refer to that kind of as C's. I've heard everything from, you know, those three all the way to figure eights. There's a million different styles and way you can do it. Practice these couple, see which one works best for you. You might have to do a combination of the two, but we'll get that when you come in and do some practice training before you start your project. We'll find the one that works best for you at the speed you move. Some people rush. Some people are really slow and sit on the puddle too long and they blow right through it. So it's a lot about timing. You can adjust the machine on a MIG, which kind of helps you account for some of those depending on your style. And we can help you if that's having an effect on it. Help on your welding, we can help adjust the machine to compensate a little bit for that. Sometimes you will have to definitely take a deep breath, slow down if you're going too fast, or just know you need to speed up if you're going too slow. But we can help you. We have student workers that'll be here to help you. I'll be here to help you, and we'll help you as you practice to get a good beat going.